Magomed Ankalaev versus Alex Pereira 2 is on horizon to determine who is the best light heavyweight in the world today. At the moment, it's clearly Ankalaev, but Alex is making some argument here that Ank didn't beat the best Alex Pereira. It's the usual talk, right? I wasn't at my best in the rematch, I will be. And recently had an interview indicating that he was only fighting at 40% of his capabilities due to health complications. Only 40%? Well, it's usually a given that fighters are going to enter a fight with some bumps and bruises, but Ank didn't disclose anything. A lot of fighters don't, but Alex did. I don't know. But he cannot neglect the thought that Ankalaev is most likely going to be better as well, because there seem to have been some glaring advantages from Ank and technical mistakes from Alex in the first fight. Now, the common narrative post-fight, I mean, even during the fight, was that Alex wasn't aggressive enough. He should have pressed the action. He should have moved forward. He should have threw hands more. And if he did, it would have raised his chances. Well, I'm not too sure on that sentiment because we can analyze some moments in the first fight that showed a counter to Alex's aggression, right? It wasn't like throughout that Alex didn't even try to move forward, didn't try to pressure. He did. And he sensed a level of danger from
He's a better counter fighter. Like, Izzy and Alex are known for being two great counter like strikers from kickboxing. He can come forward because he can, but they would prefer to counter. But let's see what he's saying about this aggression.
Ank's countering style that he had to respect. That had multiple occurrences throughout the fight. There's a reason why Alex heavily pressured the beginning of the first round and then provided no pressure at the beginning of any other round afterward. In fact, Alex didn't take a single advancing step to begin the fifth round. Something was happening throughout the fight that was dispelling Alex Pereira's pressure, and it was all from the work of Ankalaev. Ankalaev's synergizing attacks were completely throwing Alex off the entire fight. Everything was jointly working together to keep Alex Pereira on the back foot for as long as possible. This will give Ankalaev a spatial advantage where he can use different angles and overload Alex's nervous system using his feints to force out attacks so he can counter. He was using that go first and go third principle, which I think would also favor Alex to draw out the counter triggers from Ank so then he can counter those himself. I honestly think that's Alex's best possible tactic than just throwing leg kicks and then he's perpetually pressed the entire fight off of those. Most of his attacks were just way too honest. Like, he wasn't feinting as much, he wasn't setting up his strikes as much, and essentially became oblivious to many of Ank's attacks. A dilemma which arose because of his lack of distance management. The hand trap is his measuring stick. It usually is. Ank eliminated that thing so much, evaded it when he could, throwing off Alex's distance management for like 3 rounds straight. It was insane. Just masterful work from Ankalaev. Now, this is just my opinion, but I honestly think a multi-layered countering approach is the optimal style against Ank, right? That simple go first, go third principle should work here for Alex as well, not just for Ank. The first swift attack should be used to draw out Ank's counter, a perfect distraction to trigger his habits, right? And that Ank counter is the second move. So the opening will shine for Alex to go third, punishing Ank's counter style. That is the approach, right? Go first, go third. Ank used it though. I honestly think the narrative that Alex should have been a lot more aggressive, just throw strikes forward, at least try to go for the knockout, could have been more detrimental than his original approach. Given that Ank is a counter striker, that's exactly what he wants Alex to do.
They're both counter strikers. But see, I think the difference is, and why Ank excels, is that he's MMA. He's grown up MMA. That's his craft. And he can work better in these situations. I'm just Big Ank all day. All right? Big Ank all day. Let's see.
That's what he desires from all of his opponents, is to move forward into him, so then he can just snipe them. Given that Ank is a counter striker, he wants Alex to move forward. You see his excitement in that multiple times throughout the fight, and Alex abandons some of his forceful attacks, right? Sensing the danger. He's an elite level striker, so he's going to recognize those dangerous countering moments faster than most other strikers will. So those moments where he didn't follow through entirely with his punches were purposeful and honestly very wise. But let's begin by dissecting Ank's, I guess, comprehensive work, and we'll separate them into 5 different core techniques, as they were all jointed. Beginning with his primary technique to completely dissipate Alex Pereira's pressure. I guess what I like to call a bounce feint, because that's essentially what it looks like. This thing threw Alex off the entire fight, and it's probably going to throw him off in the second fight too, if he doesn't have the focus to properly adjust to this, because man, it was a doozy for him. It's like a constant level change pattern with a misdirecting lead hand. So throughout the fight, Alex was trying to establish a measurement off of his lead hand. He tried to gauge distance off of that normal technique that he uses in all of his fights, which is necessary in an open stance, a fight against the opposite stance fighter. Their lead hands are in closer proximity, given a quicker, natural feel off of a lead hand trap. Well, Unk misdirected that. He constantly lowers that lead hand and opens it up wide to the side, follows that motion with every bounce, which is also a threat of a level change for his takedown.
This is cool.
Considering that Alex Pereira is a rather one-dimensional fighter.
Job,
he's a kickboxer through and through with impressive takedown defense, but that takedown is still going to have to be respected, right? Unk's pressure is inherently more effective due to his well-rounded skill set. He doesn't have to only strike, he could choose to switch in his grappling at any time. In fact, he begins the 4th round with a takedown, which he never did for the entire fight. Alex was conditioned to the routine striking. He was just used to the back and forth, and that rhythm was getting familiar. Unk's sudden disruption of the takedown throws that off, and now Alex is wrestling at the beginning of the round, which became foreign to him, right? He probably expected Unk to do that, but not initiating deep into a 4th round. He probably expected that early in the fight. The superiority of being a well-rounded fighter is that you can switch up the flow and the dimension of which the fight takes place. And a mere feint of that takedown is going to pull respect out of Alex, dispelling his pressure. And in fact, Unk's usual usage of this was as he was getting pressured. So he attempted to counter it. He didn't go to it as much when he was advancing. It was usually when he was on the back foot. And it worked every single time. Alex had no answer for that one single feint that threw off his pressure for 5 rounds. Now, theoretically, and hopefully
this
for
is
his
amazing.
sake, he gets some kind of solution to that bounce feint, because if he doesn't, he will have no means of pressuring unless he wants to force an attack, which is heavily...
I am in awe of Magomed right here. That's why I love watching breakdowns. No matter how many times I can, well, not no matter how many times, like usually through the first, second watch through, I'm not going to catch everything. By the 3rd one, I'm going to catch a lot. But I did not notice that he, like when he's doing these feints and how well, you can see the fear in Pereira's eyes whenever he dropped down to level change there. Just a feint. Just a feint. It's beautiful. Beautiful.
Discouraging against a meticulous counter striker. Like, absolutely precise, man. Look how Alex forces out the 1-2, stepping on the outside here to line up that right straight. But Unk's counter style activates. He takes one long step backwards, and Alex's range miscalculation gets him to retract the punch from fully following through. So instead, he strings the combo with a long body jab that seems to have gotten deflected past the body, and there is Unk's opening. He fires out a swift left straight, aligning himself on the outside of that lead foot in an attempt to end the combo with the left high kick, which misses. Unk's counter triggers become apparent. Or we go to this moment in the 2nd round, and Alex throws the same combination again. He attempts to apply pressure.
There were a lot of people who said they thought Alex won the fight and got robbed. Y'all are crazy. That fight was beautiful, and I didn't even understand just how sophisticated. All right? I don't know how else to describe Magomed other than sophisticated, ladies and gents. It was beautiful.
Off of that 1-2, but then notice again how he doesn't fully follow through with the right straight. This happened twice now, and there's a specific reason as to why. It took a while for Alex to calculate his range precisely, thanks to Ankalaev's bounce step of constantly evading that lead hand trap. This is one reason as to why Alex became so unconfident in committing with an
avoiding the hand trap and threatening the level change. He's overloading this man. It's beautiful. Pause. But it's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Offensive combination. The other reason as to why is in the sequence itself. Look how Ankalaev angles to his left side with an extended right arm, ready to launch a counter right hook. Again, Alex's elite striking experience helps him to recognize that imminent danger, so he abandons his attack completely. A lot more inexperienced strikers would have just followed through and get knocked out for it. I mean, you see how ready Unk was. But plenty of times, man, Alex just didn't follow through entirely. Understanding that counter danger, quickly hops away from Unk. He sees the angle, he sees the right hand, he senses the danger from Unk's counter style. Or in this moment, Ankalaev initiates with a body jab, and Alex goes to counter with a right uppercut. So Alex takes comfort in following the dance instead of leading it. It can be an intelligent tactic to patiently wait for the counter striker to make the first move, but it didn't even matter. Whether he's making the first or second move, Ank's keenness on countering Alex still takes precedent. That body jab was like an offensive guise to bait out Alex's counterattack. Ankh simply formulated his attack for quick retractions that smoothly set up his counters. Right? He's not throwing powerfully with the risk of overextending. He's simply throwing these techniques to draw Alex out of his shell. Ankh pulls on the punch and attempts to counter with a long right hook that nearly lands flush on Alex. You can see from his startled reaction that he did not spot the right hook at all. Or here, Alex fakes the jab to line up a right straight to the body, quickly recognized from Ankh, using his elbow for a simple deflection of the right straight, and counters Alex perfectly with the right hook. His eyes are on Alex, fully aware of the follow-up left uppercut, pulling away simply, but his follow-up right hook also gets blocked on the shoulder. Again, another thrown 1-2 from Alex gets pulled and stepped away from, but this time as Ankh is in the orthodox stance, he counters with his left hook instead. Now, equally, both of their attacks missed, but the most notable aspect is that Ankh was reacting to Alex's attack, whereas Alex didn't even see the left hook. Completely oblivious to it. Ankh is very fast as well, so that speed factor is definitely going to play a big part in the rematch too. That's a very...
Dean Thomas, but we taking it back to Din. All right, Din Thomas tried to say we should trade Ankalaev for Dakota Divacek, whatever her last, the girl from the PFL. All right, he said she's a bigger star, and I think it's insane to say she's a bigger star than Magomed or Muhammad Big Ank Ankalaev, as I hear he's changed his name to now. He's now Muhammad Ankalaev. That's insane. This guy is an amazing fighter, and if the fans aren't aware yet, like, we don't need some I don't know, man. Like, I'm not calling her a Paige Van Zant, but you're trying to trade a UFC champion for an unproven prospect. That's insane. Din Thomas, I usually fucks with your commentary when they're like, oh, we got Din Thomas. We got Din Thomas on them. And he's like, yeah, these fuck niggas is over here doing this, throwing the leg kick, when really he should throw the double jab. Then the nigga throws the double jab and the fight changes. I usually fuck with Din Thomas, but he went way too far. He doubled down on the nonsense of trading Ankalaev for Dakota Divacek, whichever one. But nah, that's crazy. Big Ank is the star of the UFC.
Very important aspect of this. The left hook swung immediately after the whiffing right straight. It shows that Ankh was in control of the moment, even if his punch missed. He at least has the better eyes or the better awareness in these striking exchanges. Or here, Alex throws a simple jab and Ankh deflects it above his head into the left, attempting to counter with a left straight that hits the chest. So not the best precision unless he was purposely targeting the chest, which he did do a few times in the fight. Now, this was quite a terrifying moment because not necessarily from the attack that Ankh threw, because he didn't throw anything, but the angle of which he took is one of the most advantageous angles you can ever take on a fighter. And the reason why he had a much more effective angle this time was because Alex didn't even throw a jab, he didn't throw a feint, he just committed with a power right straight, recklessly reaching from distance. So Ankh simply slipped on the outside and angled on Alex's profile view. And I think if he actually threw something, he could have connected. He had the distance. Alex would have to reshift his entire stance in order to face Ankh, which would not be enough time for him to defend a swift combo from Ankalaev. But he's gliding on the outside of that lead foot, holding that pressure position on Alex. Or in this moment, Alex just swings over a powerful left hook, which Ankh easily was able to pull away from, causing that power punch to miss and overly rotate. And after like a second, Ankh answers it with a left high kick, and Alex momentarily made a mistake, but he adjusts to it quickly. Recognizes that he leaned into the high kick, and then within a split second before the oncoming kick connects, he rotates and moves his head to the opposite direction. Shit. If he continued to lean into the head kick, the way, for example, like Kamaru Usman did against Leon, that would have turned out really badly. But just in the nick of time, Alex quickly resolved that disastrous mistake. Power punches are easier to recognize for counters, but Ankh was even checking.
That was an amazing adjustment at the fucking split second by Alex. Props there. Like, This man's been through some battles. He was prepared for that moment, but he had made a mistake, thought the body kick was coming, leaned in with his fucking hand down, and then split second adjust to defend. Beautiful.
Alex's snappy attacks.
Beautiful.
Making even landing simple jabs unconfident. Like Alex's signature body jab that he throws at everybody was countered by Ankalaev as well. He quickly hops to get on the outside of that lead foot, but making sure to raise some sort of feint up top to distract Alex with a fake headshot. But when he settles with the step, he fires out that left straight to the body. And from countering a trivial body jab, he also counters a trivial jab to the head, blocks and deflects the punch above his own head, so he can swing that counter left hook. And Alex evades it this time by pulling away from the shot, and it lands on his shoulder. Which wasn't the first time that Unk attacked that left shoulder. I believe that one was unintentional, but there was another moment where it definitely looked purposeful. So here, 1 minute and 58 seconds of the second round. Unk is heavily pressuring Alex Pereira. This came off a speed blitz and some good offense from Unk, which we'll get to, but he sets up his power shot with a body jab, and you can see his eye alignment aiming at that shoulder and punches it. I think he did this to weaken that signature left hook. He does get hit by it later in the fight, and it didn't really amount to the same impact that Alex usually delivers with. Now, I don't imagine this single punch would have hindered him like that, but this looked like it was an absolutely purposeful shoulder punch. As we're countering the leg kicks of Alex Pereira, so we talked about the bounce feint, we talked about Unk's counter style being somewhat overlooked from their first fight. You can see the moments where Alex attempted to apply pressure, attempted to attack, but was met with counters, threatening footwork angles, and even landing these shots on Unk in the first place was quite difficult. He's very slippery. But those are based off of the punches from Alex, both to the head and to the body. We gotta talk about the kicks now, because Alex's primary success was on landing those leg kicks. Specifically in the open stance fight, he was using that lead leg kick, which is naturally not going to cause as much damage as if he was throwing his power leg kick, right? A technique that Jan Blachowicz focused on when he damaged Ankalaev's leg. Alex decided not to use that kick, which he may have regretted, or he was fine with the technique he used and will carry that into the rematch as well. I don't know, maybe Alex this time takes a page out of Jan's book and starts chopping down with his power leg instead. But he's gonna have to risk going shin to shin with Unk. Jan looks like he's made out of metal, which doesn't seem too different from Alex's physique either. Unk is gonna have to be prepared for a familiar attack that hindered him in the Jan fight. Those shin to shin collisions are definitely a test of toughness for sure. Bro, it must be so begrudging to be scheduled to fight someone who is so insane they want to go shin to shin with you. It's like, bro, can you just kick me like a normal person? And I wonder if Alex is actually going to make that approach. Same attack that hindered him in the Jan fight. We'll see if he improved in that area. So the first leg kick was effective, and Alex was able to hold on to his pressure, although temporarily, because that quickly dissipated. During the retraction time of the kick, it creates temporary dead space, allowing for the opponent to walk forward. That is one of the main weaknesses of a kick-heavy game plan, because after the very first kick, Unk never allowed Alex to hold pressure ever again. Every single leg kick was countered with pressure. Unk would take the kick and walk forward, and then he would evolve that advancement by simply throwing counter punches, which adds on even more pressure. Like in this sequence here, Alex lands the leg kick. He wants to retract it so he can get into his stance again, but gets suddenly thrown off from Unk's advancing counter. So he throws a counter right hook to the head, forcing Alex to guard up high, as well as opening up the center while he's trying to shift into his orthodox stance, and that gives Ankalaev the opening for a body jab, but he misses the chest. It looks like he hits the right shoulder. Knocks Alex away, and look at the positional difference now. They were both practically at the center of the octagon. Neutral position, right? And look where they end up. Alex is all the way to the black line from one single maneuver. And even if Alex lands a hindering leg kick, by kicking his knee inward, Ankalaev still pressed forward, even stringing a combination to continue that pressure.
Look at that angle.
Left straight and then a right hook. Both punches miss, but it successfully pushes Alex away.
Amazing.
So an adjustment could be to limit the amount of leg kicks and substitute some of that activity for punches, body kicks, head kicks, stuff like that, right? Now that could answer some of the pressure. The bounce feint is still going to be prevalent. At least reducing the leg kicks thrown will solve Alex's positional issues. Being routinely pressured was just a worse outcome than the benefits he got from landing those kicks. Now that could substitute for more powerful collisions between them. And if Alex is aggressively punching too much, he could get countered and knocked out at some point in the fight. And here again, Alex throws another leg kick. He gets countered with a left straight to the face. The follow-up right hook whiffs, and it just seemed like Alex was unprepared to string a counter to his own kicks. he should incorporate an answer to Ank's countering, right? Perhaps he can swing an additional left hook in one motion so the left hook naturally follows off of the lead leg kick. That is perhaps a technique that he can use. And he did, once though, sadly. It'll be awesome to see more of that in the rematch. He threw the leg kick, Ankh took it, advanced forward for the body jab, and Alex swung that powerful left hook, but Ankh pulled away from it. Ankh was just on point, man.
He was on
easily
point.
evading Alex's sudden adjustments honestly makes Alex's rematch chances seem sort of bleak. Alex could definitely pull it off, but man, it just seems like he's going into an uphill battle. It'd be so impressive if he pulls it off. Ankh seemed to be the faster fighter of the two, both defensively and offensively. We'll get to the defensive part first. So there were a few leg kicks that were missing where Ankh easily just stepped away. The missing is going to open space for pressure. During those moments, Alex is just trying to get his footing and Ankh is just persistent with the pressure openings, which he 100% is going to reintroduce to the rematch. Now, interestingly, when Ankh mimicked that same leg kick, Alex didn't pressure through that dead space. He refused to capitalize against that retraction. That was quite strange because it was evident that he didn't learn from Ankh's pressure successes. Perhaps he was focusing his approach on countering Ankh, which could explain some of the hesitancy to force attacks, but that contrast was interesting. Ankh would pressure every time, but Alex would not do the same. Ankh also had a pretty cool creative counter where as soon as Alex throws the kick, Ankh would meet him with a left high knee feint that just stopped Alex in his tracks, getting him to angle to reset his stance, setting him in place to take an outside leg kick. Now, he possibly could have checked it, but the counter was pretty nice, man, as he lands it again in the second round in a near identical sequence. But inflicting damage was not the only use of the leg kicks. He also feinted with them as a method to push Ankh away. He generally used the power kick, and it worked. Only for the first time, though. I just realized something, actually. That practically all of Alex's initial offenses were effective, except for the first and third tactic, right? But pretty much all of the offenses were successful, and then immediately made obsolete. Ankh needed to see them one time to turn them against Alex. Yo, that is pretty impressive fight IQ, actually. Every other leg kick feint was detrimental. It never worked. It actually put Alex in worse positions and even got him rocked in the second round, quickly backfiring. Alex tries it with the power kick again, but gains no effect, and Ankh just counters him to the body. He throws a fake knee, probably expecting Ankh to back away, but he stands his ground and throws a two-punch combination, right hook into a left hook, the left landing flush, and in the second round, he faked the right kick, so that Ankh once again stood his ground in front of him. Alex realizes the mistake. He tries to push away at Ankh with his right hand, but simply was not enough to hold him at bay, clattering him with that left hook, rocking Alex Pereira for the first time and only time in the fight, honestly. It was the shot that inflicted the most damage by far. Yeah, Alex definitely has to discard those fake leg kicks. It was the only reason why he got countered like that. Ankh has no respect for those feints. He doesn't care at all. But then again, that could also work to Alex's benefit. Bait Ankh into a counter or something. Possibly. Theoretically, it could work, but probably not the most practical. But a move that definitely was practical were Ankh's front kicks that are 100% going to transition into the rematch as well. The front kicks were of such good use, mainly because of Alex's squared stance. The entire body is vulnerable, and Ankh capitalized on that vulnerability with a simple front kick, and the front kick's effect is to push his opponent away. So it's also going to play into Ankh's perpetual pressure. So recapping Ankh's core techniques here. So you got the bounce feint directly countering Alex's punches, the takedown threat, as well as applying pressure against the leg kicks, and attacking with the front kick, all synergizing so well as to why Alex Pereira was on the back foot the entire fight. A lot of people believe that Alex just chose to be on the back foot, but much of that was credited to Ankh's approach. A beautiful use of the front kick, just blasting that into the body. And notice how he's not thrusting with it or using it as a snap kick. He's literally stomping forward into the body, causing Alex to lose footing, stumbling across the octagon, creating massive space. I mean, look how far away he pushed Alex with that single kick. That's an effective kick if I've ever seen one. That launching distance is insane. Starting like a foot away from the center of the octagon to getting pushed nearly into the fence from a single kick is so ridiculous. And remember, that's an offensive Ankh attack. That's not a direct move for his counter style. The guy can also be considerably effective as the initiator, and you see it here as well. Literally speed blitzing Alex Pereira with a simple but effective 1-2. Alex had no reaction to it. Literally. So rewinding to this jab. The jabbing hand is at his waist, he's rising it to the head, and extends it fully through. Alex didn't move a single muscle for the entirety of Ankh throwing that jab. The man literally stood there like a statue. No pun intended. And then the clean left hand causes whiplash, pushing the pressure all the way to the opposite side of the octagon. Like literally this is where they ended up before Ankh commenced his next attack. and another efficient
Crazy.
offensive move were his shifting feints, which also applied pressure. He would literally switch stances forward, and that would be enough for Alex.
Alex tried to say this nigga was scared to run into him at the UFCPI like a couple days ago. He whooped your ass for 5 rounds. And you said he's scared to run into you. It was just a terrible moment for Alex Pereira.
To move away.
Actually, he's been sounding goofy coming out, like, as he mentioned, all these excuses. Oh, I wasn't 100%. I was dealing with this, blah, blah. He sounded crazy ever since Magomed beat that ass.
He used that a few times throughout the fight, as well as the high knee
Magomed.
feint, a move which Sean Strickland must have stamped for Unk's usage, the master of the knee feint. Unk learned that move from the master himself. They have trained together, actually, and the fact that that technique worked so often against Alex, in some way gives Sean Strickland a moral victory. He needed it after what that monster did to him, man. Knocked his head into the 3rd row, and at least now Strickland can feel a moral victory through Unk's success, right? It is somewhat poetic that Sean Strickland used that move to defeat Adesanya. Unk used it to gain an advantage against Alex,
Damn, he
which
did.
led to a win.
Fuck.
So the high knee feint might be the best technique against a kickboxer. Well, Strickland did get KO'd for using it against Alex, but how? You're probably thinking, how did it work so well for Unk, but not for Strickland? It was because Strickland got conditioned to the body jab, while Unk didn't. Ankalaev was countering the body jab, detracting Alex's use of it, right? It became dangerous for Alex to throw the body jab at Unk, but Strickland was giving him defensive reactions to that punch, so it created the left hook opening as Strickland dropped his right hand, and there's a knockout opening. And of course, Unk is the bigger fighter, the more powerful striker, so it creates a completely different dynamic. That shift was eventually mixed in with a combination, so he would shift forward, following that momentum with the left hook, and then blasting through the jaw with the right overhand, continuing the combination, but it just goes to show whether he's leading the dance or he's the one following the dance. He was just beating Alex. And I think sudden creativity will be like a necessary wrench into Unk's plans. You saw a moment of that, and perhaps in the rematch he comes out there with not just a uniform approach, but fires out some creative techniques like a lead leg kick into a stringing right high kick, which gets partially blocked, so a certain amount of that impact broke through the guard, and that gave Alex the moment he needed to apply pressure. He pressed Unk toward the fence. He finally has his moment. He's in the driver's seat. He can make it happen. If it wasn't for that bounce feint, Alex really respected that technique. The mere sight of it repelled him.
Yeah.
He just retreated.
He looks terrified
after it was done,
right
and
there.
he continued the pressure after.
Y'all
but then
can see
took a
the
swift
terror.
left straight to the face, and there goes all that work for the pressure. There was another really cool sequence from Alex where he hit an impressive inside trip,
yep.
which was definitely the most unexpected move from Alex, and it worked. Got Ankalaev off balance, and on his rise, Alex tried to intercept him with the left hook, but just missed. He didn't have the distance down, man. And that credit could be given to Ankalaev nullifying so many of Alex's hand traps. It was tough to gauge without a measuring stick. But Unk has missed a full block on the high kick a few times. It wasn't just for that moment. And perhaps that's the technique in which he pulls off a win. Optimistically, I guess. But there are a few windows of fight-ending opportunities. I'm just not too confident in Alex's chances, to be honest. That's the breakdown of the fight, so Alex definitely needs to limit the leg kicks. He can't be overzealous with his punching output. Given that Ankalaev is a natural counter striker, he's going to have to expect takedowns, and probably with a distinct fluidity and frequency. So he should not be surprised if Unk begins the first round with a takedown instead, and probably chooses to wrestle more than he does striking. That's what a well-rounded fighter can do. If you're not well-rounded, they can completely change the game plan for a rematch. Whereas the one-dimensional guy really is only fighting in one way. Like, Alex can make these technical adjustments, but he's still going to be kickboxing. And he's never not going to be kickboxing. Unk can kickbox or wrestle with him. That's always going to give Ankalaev an advantage here, and throw off any of Alex's adjustments. So he's going to have to definitely get more creative out there and not allow Unk to just pressure him as much. I mean, if it incorporates the threat of getting knocked out, he's going to have to take those chances because he's not winning, being perpetually pushed the entire fight. So hopefully that clarifies some of the inaccurate narratives that Alex wasn't trying to press forward, that he wasn't attacking and trying to establish some kind of offense. He tried, and it failed him every time. So does increasing the output make it work? Or does that just put him in incremental dangerous positions? We will see. Alex can definitely pull it off for sure. He just has to fight the perfect fight. Even though he is the one-punch knockout artist, technically he has to be perfect. Because as you can see, even a slight mistake off of a feint gives Unk a lengthy amount of pressure to work with. But I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. If you guys did, make sure you
shout out to the Weasel on a phenomenal breakdown. That's why people rocks with you, Weasel. That was a great breakdown, all right? Phenomenal breakdown from the Weasel. I'm even more excited than I was. I never really comprehended how masterful Ankalaev was in that first fight. I was rooting for Ankalaev, but I didn't realize just how great he did. Actually, I was worried at the end of the fight. I thought he should have grappled more. I was a little worried at the end of the fight, but I shouldn't have been. Ankalaev won, and after looking at this breakdown, wow, he really had that man shook from grappling. And I was like, I remember thinking during the fight, wow, Ankalaev's not even going to grapple. He's not even going to grapple. But that feint of a grappling exchange clearly worked so well. It had Alex Pereira shook. And now there's no more Shama, ladies and gents. There's no more Shama, okay? Shout out to Big Ank, Magomed, Ankalaev. And still, I think he could knock this boy out. Take him down for the first 2-3 rounds. Make him real tired. Make that boy tired. Have him grappling on the ground. He's not going to be able to get back up, in my opinion. I don't think he'll be able to get back up. I don't think he's going to be able to submit Ankalaev from the bottom. Make that boy tired for the first 3 rounds and then just fuck him up on the feet. Put that boy in retirement. Let's go. Magomed Ankalaev. I can't wait, ladies and gents. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Head on over to the Weasel. Give him a like. Give him a subscribe. That was a phenomenal breakdown from the Weasel. I'm actually blown away. But shout out to you guys for being here once again, and I'll see you guys next time.